turn that on. And this is also going to tax OBS, the new display capture. So let me know if anything goes weird while I'm doing this. That's another good one, yeah. And you might be able to write like a macro for that, like applying all dynamic, or somebody else might have. Like ZBrush Central is really great for that type of stuff, to see if somebody's already made that kind of thing. Here we go, here we go. And this isn't a super taxing, it is a little misleading because it does have my total points up here just under 1 million. However, it's not taking into consideration the dynamic subdivision. So we're subdividing these things quite a bit, and it's taking all those subdivisions into Keyshot. So, ta-da! So, first things first, let's look through some materials here. So if we want to, we can go to, we got any like good car paint here? Let's see how good this stuff looks. Sexy. But let's go to painted here. Paint, paint glossy, paint matte, paint metallic. Whoops. Yeah, and it's so... Okay, so anyway, we got a material over here. So we got all these ZBrush materials because they come in with whatever the default matte was that was applied to this. I didn't have colorizer materials assigned to this thing. So let's really quickly just go into steel here. Smooth normal is working in a Keyshot. Oh yeah, it is. So if you want to take a game res and all the normals are smooth, you can actually render your game res out in Keyshot. But generally speaking, if it's game res stuff, I'll just go into Octane probably. But yeah, smooth normals does work. If you go, let me just show you that real quick. So under, that was, is that under export? Where is that smooth normals? It's because I know under the FBX export you can have smooth normals turned on. Is it under render? Render properties. Is it somewhere in here, right? Smooth normals. Render properties. Noise maker, smooth normals, there it is. Thank you. Yeah, so render properties, smooth normals, turn that on, and if you want to export it with FBX, that's where your smooth normal options are. So yeah, so back to the Keyshot here, and hopefully everything's rendering out okay. Everything seems to be going pretty good. I'm liking the new display capture better than the alternative. That was kind of not working too well. Let's go to steel, ultra. Scratched. We'll top some of that. Now, if I want to do groups here, I can just do, okay, everything I want to be steel ultra scratched, I can just go ahead and assign to one group here. We'll just do the legs here. And then if I want to grab this material, I can see it here, and then I can go into here and just kind of plop these things on here. And then for those shoulder pads here and those inside, oh, you know what, I should have detailed out those. I guess I still can, it's not a big deal. What else we got? See how that'll look. I think that'll look fine. I'm gonna keep it simple on this one. And then, oh, Fusion 360 Cloud Render is awesome. That's always one of those just nice things where it's like, oh, another one-button solution. I can just go to render, drop down. I think I go over it on my YouTube channel if you go to the Fusion 360 Quick Start. So it's like having Keyshot built in. Really, really nice. It's not as robust as Keyshot, obviously, but all the basic functions are there, and it ends up doing really, really nice renders. So it's more, just like Keyshot, it tends to be more of a product renderer. So you need to make sure your stuff is pretty nice, but you know, your stuff in Fusion 360 is going to come out really nice, so you don't really need to worry about that too much. Let's see if we can grab some nickel. brushed, light, polished, spun. What is this one? Can't see. Oof. Let me see if we can just go to metal, anodized. Let's do some anodized metal here. You know, maybe this would look better. Okay, so this is all part of one group here. I can go to scene and select this one. I can break that, but I can also just get like unlink materials, but I can also just go in here and just grab anodize and drop that on, and that'll go ahead and unlink it as well. Let's see, still scratched here. And let's do like one shiny anodized glossy. Knuckles here. Let's see how this looks. Orange. That'll work. Yeah, and you can get Fusion 360 free for a year, and they always have discounts. I guess because they're trying to get adoption in. So yeah, there's always discounts. Oh, look, he's got a cute little wooden handle back here I totally forgot about. So let's go ahead and do steel scratched here. And for this one, we'll do steel scratched. I forgot to smooth those ones. And let's go into wood. What kind of wood we got? Old wood. That'll work. And let's go ahead into old wood planks here. And let's go into textures and let's scale that way up. And I probably want to turn that. So let's go into angle and type in 90. There we go. And now we can scale that down. Perfect. Oh, that's a nice handle. Nice old ass wood handle. Okay, so now all this other stuff in here, I don't even know what it's attached to here, so I can go to select parts with material here, and it should select them unless I have, does it keep turning that off? Selection outlines is on. Oh, it's that thing. I don't even know what you are, so you know what? You're getting ultra scratched. Next. Select parts. I might go, let's see if I can select all these parts here. Anything weird? I'm going to, by default, I'm just going to go, you know what, all you guys get still ultra scratched, unless otherwise. And this one here, I'll change it. So I'll select that one, and then we'll do anodized gray on that one. Just a little bit faster. All right, got a little robot going. Okay, Axel, we'll do a clay render real quick. I'll see if I can help you out with that. It's not going to be fancy, but we can maybe talk about it and see if we can get some good stuff. Wax modifier is pretty cool. I don't have it turned on, but if anybody wants to, underneath the render properties here, turn on, oh, I'm sorry, it would be under wax preview here. You can turn that on, and then it was to like a skin shader here, and then you can go over to the material menu, and for every material there's a wax modifier here. You can crank that up and you get kind of a gummy look going. Obviously better for stylized faces and stuff usually, but it's kind of a cool thing you can turn on. My substance stuff, if I had the regular version of Keyshot, I totally would, but I don't. I'd have to go through ZBrush, so going from ZBrush to Substance back into ZBrush and then into Keyshot's kind of a pain. So in that case, I would usually do Redshift, Octane, or iRays built into Substance, so that's a really good one too. So we'll do that tonight too. So let's see, just so if it's on YouTube, anybody is, I'm asking questions so they know what it is. So Malchior says to Axel, more than the material itself, the clay rendering is 80% lighting. Back in the day, I found an awesome guide to explain perfectly clay rendering. If he recovers it, he'll send it to you. That's awesome. And if I see the link on here, I'll post it on my YouTube channel for everybody else too, because I'm sure we'd all like to learn stuff. So let's go back into, oh yeah, so there's all my Quadro reference here, just old farm machinery here, and there's my OBS. So we'll go back into Keyshot. There we go. And so we got this thing here. So what we can do real quick is I'm going to go in here to our scene, and I'm going to minimize this down. And then we're going to go to our scene sets here. And we've got a default scene set. This will be my default scene set. I'm going to right click this, do add a scene set, and we'll call this clay. And now that we're in the clay scene set, what I can do is, you know what, I think there is actually, there's ZBrush clay, but I think there's a clay render that you can do that's specifically for clay. But if you're so inclined, you could do possibly, here's ZBrush clay, and then like the old tricks we used to do. I mean, I've done this a million times, but we can go to the background here, and we could throw him onto a tabletop like we're actually sculpting him. And this is also good just so you can kind of judge it with those other, you know, this clay in the background and stuff too. So now we've got, let's scale this up like it's a big old clay model here. And let's go back to our materials here. ZBrush clay, let's try this one. This one. This one. So if you double tap this one, you can go into the transmission a little bit and kind of play around with that and see if it helps, as well as in the specular transmission. If that'll kind of gummy it up as well. You can kind of play with a little bit of those. Refraction index, I'd probably leave alone. But that'll start looking pretty clay-like. Of course, you're going to want to match the angle of view, and also just doing the basic stuff like we always do, like camera in here, turn on depth of field, and then select your point of focus, which in this case would probably be the hand. And then what you can do is set the f-stop up or down so you can sharpen or fuzz out. So you see this one gets pretty fuzzy pretty quick. Like this is in focus, but this isn't. As it goes further back, it gets fuzzier. So you can kind of play with that setting to kind of dial in that. And of course, I'm just using the default lighting, so you would probably want to match that. You can also do your custom lighting in Keyshot, but what I'm using now is just our default, which in this case doesn't work that badly. You can go in here to your environment lighting and you can crank up the brightness a little bit and hold down shift, and is it shift right click? What is that? Hold on, help, hotkeys overview K. I want to go to environment, rotate environment, control left mouse button drag, sorry. Control left mouse button drag, and that'll kind of drag the light around. So you can kind of see it's lit over here and then shadowy over here. So you can just match that. And if you want to see it a little bit better, you can turn the color off. You can kind of just match these shadows. So now the shadow's going that way. Turn your lighting environment or your backplate image back on. And kind of make that sit a little bit better. Hard surface is fun, man. There's a lot of different ways to do it. I think that's maybe the harder part, is just going, yeah, what technique do I use and all that stuff. But at the very least, even if you like doing organic stuff, go back through and watch. I go over a lot of hard surface techniques at once. In one of my live streams, I'll point you right to it. Let's see, Twitch TV, and I have it called out. And it's super organic. It's really simple stuff to do too. Hard surface excerpt here. Let me link you that. And something, there might be something good for there. Yes, so speaking of Monster Clay, I teach anatomy at Gemini, and so I have a group of students that are first and second year, and they don't know ZBrush yet because ZBrush is third and fourth year. So we have to use clay. So we use Shirvan NSP in little maquettes, and then we have these little wooden dowel rods we use for heads and stuff. We have to work a little bit smaller. It's not like wed clay where we can work like full size, then it's nice. But It works really well, so that way they don't have to learn ZBrush. I still think learning anatomy in ZBrush is way funner, just because it's faster and you don't have to clean your hands and get crap under your nails. But yeah, so it's a really good way to just kind of reinforce, and you want to draw anatomy too as well. But anyway, so if we go back to our scene here, let's go back to our default, and we'll go ahead and for our environment, we'll just do a color. And if you did want to do custom lighting, let's go ahead and go back to our camera here. We'll turn off depth of field for temporarily. So we got this thing here, and we'll go back to our environment lighting. We'll change our brightness down to 1. And if we want to, we can do interior simulation. Here's the Dosh Studio, and we can go into our lighting environment now. Kind of set him in there. Let's try the stairwell here. Anything jump, and this is kind of seeing if anything jumps out at me. Or we can put him outdoors. That's kind of a cool one. Of course, you don't have to look at that. You can go to color here. And you can also supplement this with other things here. So we can go here to edit, add geometry. Let's do a plane. You can do a sphere. Let's do a plane here. And I'm just going to right click this plane and we'll go to move part. We've done this before too. We can kind of move this into place. Now this might be a pro only option. I'm not positive. And then you can just go to your area light here. So now we can go here and change our brightness of our environment back to black, and then our area light can light our object here. Let's change this to watts. So you can set up a bunch of area lights. If you don't have Pro, you can just set these area lights up in ZBrush and move them around as needed. So you can do custom lighting here, and then of course you can just turn off visible to camera. So you can and you can supplement this with your environment lighting. So you can kind of crank up your environment lighting a bit, just to kind of bring it back in a little bit, get some reflections going, and then have custom lighting in there. Kind of up to you. But we can go ahead and kill that anyways. So yeah, and so the damage and stuff, we'll do that in Painter. And you can do that in ZBrush, it's just really destructive. So if I like to have procedural damage just so I can go back and change it and modify it if I need to. And it's just funner to do, honestly. A lot more robust. So we've got this here. I'm gonna go ahead, you know what? Let's save it, just in case I want to come back to this. And we can call this one, his name is Ernie Bought. And we'll hop out of here.